Jess, there have been several women who have come out with allegations against Bill Cosby, and now you have something that you wanted to tell us about an encounter that you had with Dr. Cosby. What happened?
In 1982, I was on a job in Bali, in Indonesia, and he called, and the conversation was, the best of my recollection, you need to get to Lake Tahoe because I'll be performing there, and I want to offer you that job we talked about, as well as helping you with a singing career I hear you're trying to do. When I arrived in Lake Tahoe, Bill was performing at the venue, and then after dinner, in my room, he had given me wine and a pill. The next morning, I woke up and I wasn't wearing my pajamas, and I remember before I passed out that I had been sexually assaulted by this man.
You took the pill, you drank the alcohol.
Red wine.
Red wine, and then what happened?
Before I woke up in the morning, the last thing I remember was Bill Cosby in a patchwork robe, dropping his robe and getting on top of me.
Did you ever confront him about what you thought might have happened?
No.
Did he ever say anything to you about what might have happened?
No.
So you come forward now to talk about this again. Does it
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. It's because it's the right thing to do, and it happened to me, and this is the true story.
And all of a sudden, I'm feeling drugged.
She is the latest woman to join the firestorm.
The next thing I remember is waking up in bed, naked, next to Cosby.
Joan Tarshish says it was 1969 when friends introduced her to the comic, then starring in his first sitcom. Tarshish says it happened twice. Why go back a second time?
Because I saw no way out.
She says she never told anyone. Why not go to the police?
I didn't think anybody would believe me. It's me saying something about Bill Cosby, who's like a god to everybody in the world. He's Mr. Wonderful. He's Mr. Jello.
The recipes on the box.
Now 64, Tarshish joins a chorus of reignited sexual abuse claims against Bill Cosby. Last week, former actress Barbara Bowman wrote an op-ed alleging that Cosby drugged and raped her in 1985.
Nobody believed me.
In 2006, Cosby settled a civil case with a woman who claimed he drugged and assaulted her. The settlement did not include an admission of wrongdoing.
So joining me now, Barbara Bowman. She alleges she was raped by Bill Cosby when she was a teenage actress. Thank you for joining us. I've watched you during, when you look at him, what's going through your mind?
Just still disbelief, and how powerful, what a powerful hold he had over me.
So you said that he drugged and assaulted you. You said multiple times.
Yes.
Right? You were a teenager, an
Yes.
aspiring actress. What do you believe happened?
Well, there were several occasions that I woke up out of a very confused state, not in my clothes. There was an occasion at his brownstone in New York City where I had gone for dinner and had one glass of wine with dinner. There were staffers there. The house was mingling with people. And before I knew it, I was with my head over the toilet, throwing up, and he was holding my hair out of my face while I threw up, and I was in a white t-shirt and my panties, and he was looming over me in a white robe.
And so you were at his house at a dinner party, or were you there to be with him?
I was there alone, and he had been mentoring me and grooming me. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and when I was 17, my agent introduced me to him to groom me, to mentor me, to get me ready for show business, and part of that was bringing me to New York City.
Did he ever make advances towards you when you weren't, because you believe that you were drugged, when you weren't drugged, did he make advances towards you?
It was a very controlling and manipulative environment. It was very very controlled, very isolated, and there were twisted things. There were telltale signs.
But nothing overt.
There was something pretty overt in Reno, Nevada, but by that time I was very much under control and under his thumb,
and I don't recall that there were drugs
So
involved in that.
after the initial time you spent there, you said Reno, Nevada. You also went to, I believe, Atlantic City,
Yes.
and you put yourself in a position to be close to him again. What was that? Naivete? Was that youth? Why would you do that?
I would say it's so many different things. Victims of sexual assault go through so many different things. I was young. I was in New York City. He and my agent were subsidizing my housing and my acting classes, and my job was to focus on acting, do what I was told, stay on the straight and narrow. And when things started to happen with him, I couldn't go to my agent. I was terrified of her, and I was terrified of him. And he would say things, if I started to ask questions, or I would get, the confusion from the drugs, and I'd be asking questions, he'd say, well, you were drunk. And I would say, well, I wasn't drunk, but I can't let my agent know I was, in that position. I'm supposed to be working hard in New York.
How do you think he drugged you? Do you have any idea? No?
I never saw any drugs, but I would wake up completely confused, half-dressed, and knowing that my body had been touched without my permission.
You have struggled over the years to have your allegations taken seriously.
Yes.
And it wasn't until a comedian recently talked about it, and this is, some time later, almost 30 years later.
Actually, no. I've been speaking out publicly and trying to have the story believed and heard since 2004.
Do you think it's been taken seriously enough?
It's starting to. I'm really glad now. It's a relief to know that the critical masses are starting to finally pay attention. It's been a long, hard, lonely, dark road.
You've never taken legal action, though.
I didn't. No, I didn't. And I didn't. Why didn't I? Well, I tried. I told my agent one time. She did not believe me. A friend of mine in '89 took me to an attorney. He laughed me out of the office. At that point, nobody would believe me. He was Dr. Huxtable. He was America's dad. Everybody loved him. I loved him. I wanted him to be my dad. And nobody believed me. And I was so broken down at that point and had gone through so much of having my mind completely manipulated. When I got kicked out of New York City, they put me back to Denver with the clothes on my back. My things got locked in the apartment. I had to sue to get my things back. I regrouped, came back to New York, and I just said, I just have to put this away. I have to just get on with my life.
You're not the first woman to make those allegations. There have been several, but all have been unsubstantiated. And he's never been prosecuted.
Mm-mm.
Why do you think he hasn't?
Well, he certainly has a great team that does great damage control, I will say. He's done so many good things in his life. I mean, he's on the board of directors at Temple University. He's got a writer's award or something. He's, very revered. He was loved by everyone. When this sort of thing happens, he has ways to get around it. He's got confederates of circles of people that protect him.
People don't want to believe it because he's such an iconic figure in
I think
society.
that has a lot to do with it.
So, people say you're out to get something. You either want fame, revenge, money, something, and they don't believe you because it's taken you all these years and nothing has been substantiated.
That I have heard a little bit of that, but I've had so much support, worldwide support from women and men who say, I believe you, I have faith in you, thank you for speaking. And really, this is not about burying him anymore. I mean, that part of me is healed. I'm in a place of empowerment now, and now really how this all began in 2004 was not monetarily driven. My statute of limitations had run out. Well, now my goal is to speak out and help other victims. I was just appointed ambassador for a national advocacy group called PAVE. It stands for Promoting Awareness, Victims Empowerment. And I'll be doing public speaking tours and talking to young actresses and models who are vulnerable, who will be finding themselves in this position. I really, really, really want to touch somebody else and give them the encouragement and the empowerment to come and speak out. Otherwise, we're not going to get ahead, and these men are just going to keep getting away with it.
Barbara Bowman, thank you for coming on and telling your story.
Don.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
What has held you back all these years from telling this story in detail until now?
I remember being humiliated disgusted. I had revulsion towards Cosby, and Cosby was a very powerful man, and probably still is. You know, I trusted this man, and I stuffed it. I compartmentalized it because I was embarrassed.
And at what point did you find yourself alone with Mr. Cosby? You trusted him, but then things went in a different direction, in your view.
Stu Gardner left the dinner table. I was alone with him, and I had menstrual cramps. I had stomach cramps. He said, "Oh, I've got something for that," and he gave me a pill. And
did you ask what it was?
I don't remember that. I don't remember. But if he's giving me a pill, I trust the guy. I trusted Bill Cosby, so he gave me...
Why did you feel like you trusted him?
Because of his demeanor and the promise of a career. And, you know, I trusted him, and I wanted a television career. I always had a successful career. For commercials, I wanted to take it to the next level.
And at the same time, though, you were telling me you're in rehab. You were still very fragile. He offered you wine. That was a no-no in your view, but now he offers you a pill, and you still trust him?
It was red wine, it was a pill, and then when I started to black out, I had a Polaroid camera on me. That's when I took several photographs with a Polaroid, when I had one of the first Polaroid cameras, and, you know, I just remembered shooting these pictures and having them on me in my room the next morning when I woke up. The last thing I remember, I had blacked out, and Cosby mounting me, like the monster that he was. And I was thinking, what the heck? And I just remember passing out, but I remember more specifically waking up and that there was a lot of pain in downstairs. There was semen all over me, and that my pajamas bottoms were off, and the top was open. And I, at that point, fight or flight, I just packed up and I got the hell out of there.
What do you want from Bill Cosby right now? What do you need to hear from him? What does he need to do?
I would like Cosby to come out and at least acknowledge that he is a pig, that he is a monster, and he has raped me.
Thank you, Janice Dickinson.
Thank you, pleasure, Ms. Frederick.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, CNN. I'm sorry.
Apologize. You know.
I don't know how to process this. I do not know how to process these emotions. You know, I don't. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go to church. I do not know. This has affected me in my house. It's affecting me. I don't know. It's probably affected these women.